let's begin on our backs. And I just invite you to take a few minutes on your own to feel a sense of support from the earth, a settling in to your practice. I'm going to guide in just a few minutes, but just begin whatever this might look like to you. It's fine. Trust your body and the instincts that you have about what you need to get started. And for some of us, that might mean just being really still and going internal. Maybe a little lying meditation. And for others, you could be doing laps around your yoga mat. Just really sense how you are lying on the earth. How you get this whole body, at least back body feedback from the ground. And scanning from head to toe, toe to head, any places where you might feel a little catchy, a little holding. See if you can address that with your breath, with a little movement. And we'll meet in a position of comfort. So bending your knees, setting the soles of your feet to the floor. Arms out wide. If you have already done this, it's fine. Just take a few windshield wipers, knees side to side. Moving at your own speed. And then coming back to center, stack your knees over your hips, hands on your knees, and then take the knees wide and around, back in. And here we can start getting a sense of matching breath with movement. So inhale, bring the knees into your chest, and exhale, take your knees wide and around. And then just come back to center, arms out to your sides. Knees are still stacked over your hips and your lower legs parallel to one another and to the floor. So we'll do a little core work because standing postures, standing strong and standing in balance requires core, requires the front core, the back of the body, the pelvic floor. So just tapping your toes, alternating right to left. Your inhale brings you back to the starting position. You're going to go 6 to 8 times on each side. Just feel the contraction in your abdominals. And then it'll be heels touching and back up. Sense where that might contract a different part. It's more in the lower abdominals. Yeah, then straighten your legs up towards the ceiling. And here we'll just arms out to the sides, sort of facing your thighs. And you'll lift your head and shoulders and reach your hands past your thighs, and then exhale to lower back down. So inhale and exhale. And you can change the angle of your arms. You could reach up towards the outer lower legs and then back down. And then just take your hands and interlace them behind your head. Squeeze your elbows together as you lift your head and shoulders. Legs are still reaching up towards the ceiling. And then the next time you come up and you contract your abdominals, you bring the elbows together, keep that contraction as you lower back down and find yourself legs up towards the ceiling. Release your hands, bring your hands behind your head. This is kind of a downward dog shape. Then you can drop your feet back to the mat and bring the palms down alongside your body. So feet are on the mat, knees bent. And now as you inhale, slide your hands towards your heels and then back down, come back down. So as you slide your hands towards your heels, you lift your head and shoulders. See if you can get all your ribs off the floor and then lower back down. Again, we're just waking up the core muscles because we will be calling on them to do these standing postures. And the next time you come back to the floor, release the left leg to the floor, take the right leg up, pressing your sole of your foot towards the ceiling. You can interlace your hands behind your right leg, or just leave them at your side, but just feel this kind of a warrior 3 posture shape. Use your core here, contract slightly to hold this. And then you're going to release that foot and take it to the inside of the leg on the floor in a Vrksasana, supine Vrksasana. So you could be against your knee. It won't do any damage with us lying on the floor, or against the inner thigh, or against your calf. But feel how your hips are level in this Vrksasana. How much external rotation is required on the bent leg. And then release the right leg back to the floor and find your legs into Tadasana here. Draw your toes up towards your shins and squeeze muscle to bone to engage your legs. And then lift your left leg up towards the ceiling. Interlace your hands behind your left leg on the hamstring or just alongside you. Press your left foot up towards the ceiling at the same time you're pressing the right foot away. So both legs are in the Tadasana shape, as if we are in the warrior 3 here. Good, bend your left leg and take your left foot into your right thigh in the Vrksasana. So we're just building some muscle memory here on the floor before we go to standing and doing some of these same shapes. Great, release your left leg. Now both legs in Tadasana, arms out to the sides. And then release any effort and just come into a mini Shavasana. Release any effort and just feel supported by the floor, totally relaxed. Let go of any tension here. Very good. Then from here, roll onto your belly and come into crocodile. So that is the hands stacked, elbows out to the sides, feet as wide as the corners of your mat. Rest your forehead on your hands. And take a couple rounds of breath here in this super restorative. You really get a sense of your breath. And then slide your hands alongside your low ribs and press up and back to child's pose or any variation of this shape. So you could be resting all the way on your heels with your arms out in front. Arms could be at your sacrum or alongside your body, or you might have a prop between your thighs and your calves. Do whatever is necessary for you to be comfortable here. Fill your back body with your breath. So this pose allows us to expand the breath into the back body, right and left of the lower spine where the kidneys live. On your next inhale, come up to table. And now just take some cat-cow movements here. So inhale, belly reaches towards the floor, arching through your spine. And on your exhale, press into the hands, round your back, and come in to the cat pose. The Halloween pose, eh? We just had Halloween, yep. So taking a few rounds, seeing how much of your whole body you can have in this process. So you could be sweeping out to the side, moving through your hips as you do your cat-cow, or rocking back and forth as you do your cat-cow. But we are balancing here, balancing on hands and knees. Good. And then coming back to center, bring your knees in close together. Okay, we're gonna do the spinal balance. So lifting your left leg out behind you and right arm. And find your balance here. And on your next exhale, as you probably have done many times, bring elbow and knee towards one another. It's a little twist. Inhale to reach out and exhale, bring knee and elbow towards one another. Okay, one more just like that. And then the next time you're extended, hold that. Okay, so now instead of bringing your elbow to your knee, you're going to bring your right arm all the way back along the right side of your body. So you'll bring your knee in towards the center and extend your right arm out behind you on the right side. Then inhale, sweep leg and arm out. Exhale, bring the right arm back, knee in towards your chest. And see how this challenges your balance differently and how you have to engage the core differently. And then the next time you're extended, arm and leg, hold, point your toes down towards the floor, reach through your fingertips. So we're reaching wingspan here, toes, fingertips, and then set your right hand on the floor, set your left knee on the floor, turn your toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Take your feet as wide as the mat and bending right knee, left knee, filling that same space in your back with breath. And a few rounds of breath in your downward dog. And then inhale, drop your knees to the floor, to the cat pose, and then back to neutral. Bring your knees back together, and this time it's right leg out, left arm out. And then on your exhale, bring your knee towards your elbow. Do that a few times. Inhale to extend. And exhale, bring the knee and the elbow together. And then start the same pattern as the other side. So on the exhale, you bring the knee in, but you sweep the arm back behind you. Inhale. Exhale. Totally different movement. Variation on the theme. Holding this last go. Arms extended. Left arm is extended. Right leg is extended. Toes pointing down towards the floor. Great. And then left hand back to the mat. Right knee back to the mat. Turn toes under. Press up and back. Downward facing dog. You can come up on your toes here and then reach heels towards the floor. Squeeze muscle to bone. Feel your legs engaged. What happens if you push a little bit more with your hands? Can you feel how downward facing dog is a balancing pose? So we have hands engaged, we have legs engaged. And then inhale, come back to your knees, come to cow or cat, cow, yes, sorry. And then round into cat. And then keep your toes turned under and walk your hands back towards your knees. Either resting your hips on your heels with the toes turned under, or keeping your hands out in front of you, or resting on a block between the hips and the heels. So warming up the feet. So broken toe pose. Just warming up the feet, the soles of the feet, or stretching out the soles of the feet. And come forward one more time, hands on the mat. Turn, your toes are turned under, so just lift your hips up and back and down the facing up. From here, walk your feet up towards your hands. So now your blocks should be at the front of your mat and have all this handy. So we're going to come into a forward fold. And then we'll do just a little half sun here. So inhaling to a flat back and then exhaling to a fold. Bending your knees any amount. Just go through this shape change a few times. Inhale to a half lift and exhale to a fold. Good. And then next time you're in the fold, heel toe your feet out wide and bring your hands to your thighs. So your hands are on your thighs, and then go through a few cat-cows right here. So inhale, arching the back and bringing the gaze forward. Exhale, round your back and tuck. The next time you round and tuck, come into a fold and heel toe the feet underneath your hips. Set your hips back and inhale into Utkatasana, the fierce pose. And then pressing through your feet into the floor, straighten your legs and let your arms float down to your sides. Take your time. Might feel a little dizzy here. Coming into Tadasana. Great. All right, palms are forward. And just feel now in your Tadasana. Just play around with eyes open and a drishti, a gaze somewhere, and then eyes closed. How does that change the balance. Now with hands on hips, slight bend in the knees, step your right foot back out to the side and find warrior one. Finding warrior one. So just in terms of prep, so we'll stay here just for a minute if you want to prep with a chair, blocks at the front of your mat. We're going to move from warrior one into warrior three. So inhale, reach the fingertips up, but draw the shoulders down. And then we'll hinge forward, lean forward, come down onto the blocks of the chair or the mat, lifting the back leg in warrior three. Point your toes down towards the floor, square your hips. To come out, bend through the front knee, set your foot back, your right foot back, come back to warrior one. We're going to do that a couple of times so you can play around with whatever props you want. Okay, so inhale to reach the fingertips up. And then we're going to start to lean forward, put the weight onto the front foot, hinging the back leg up, onto the blocks, onto the mat, or the seat of a chair, piece of furniture, coming into warrior three. Bend through your front knee and reach your back leg back, sweep the arms up, back to warrior one. Beautiful. Now interlace your hands behind your back. Draw your arms off your back, open through your collarbones and take your gaze up. Maybe where the ceiling and the wall meet. And see how that affects your balance. Remember, both feet equally engaged. So if you press the front foot away isometrically, that'll load the back foot. Good. Inhale here and exhale, bow into humble warrior. So you just bring your body inside your left leg. You can rest on this thigh if you want to, on the left thigh. Tuck your chin in. And play with your sensations here. Notice your sensations here as you balance in warrior, humble warrior. On your next inhale, press and lift. Release your arms up overhead. Back to warrior one, and then take your gaze up again. Exhale, arms down to your sides and step forward to Tadasana. And now close your eyes in this Tadasana and just feel the sensations, legs, heart. Is there more a sense of opening for you or energized feeling? Then hands to hips, bend through the right knee slightly, step back, left foot out to the side, and now warrior one on this other side. And inhale the arms so that the biceps are beside the ears. Reaching through the fingertips. We'll do the same thing here. So we're going to inhale and reach through our fingertips. Then we'll exhale and sort of bend, float, step onto that front foot, and extend the back leg out behind. Blocks can be in any orientation, and it might be different on this side, probably will be. Okay, blocks in any orientation, or try a piece of furniture, or come to the floor, or release the hands. Finding your balance, releasing the hands. And then bend through the front knee, step back, warrior one. Let's do that again. So on the exhale, we'll lean towards the front foot, Put the weight in the front foot, lift the back leg, maybe try a different variation with the hands. Falling out is legal. And then we bend to the front knee, step the back foot back, find warrior one. Interlace your hands at your sacrum, use the opposite orientation, and then reach your hands down towards the floor as you open up through the collarbones. Take your gaze up and feel the difference in your balance. Inhale here and exhale, bow, humble warrior. Tucking the chin in, maybe even closing your eyes. If you want to play really with balance, close your eyes. Next, inhale, press up. Exhale, release your arms down to your side, step forward, Tadasana. Woo, got a lot of tingling going on. Great. One more round of breath here in this Tadasana. And then bring your awareness to your feet. And in the Tadasana, pull your arches up. Pull your arches up. Feel how that engages a different part of the leg. Should feel some engagement in the inner leg. Close your eyes and just sense your balance here. Great. Then open your eyes. Now you might want a chair for this next part, or something to help you with your balance, or you just play with some different ideas. I'll show kind of both things. So weight into the left foot, and we're just gonna swing the right foot, the right leg. If you have the chair or not, you could try bringing the right foot to the left fingertips. I did try out for cheerleader in middle school, but I was rejected. I'll still remember what that coach said. You got a big mouth, but you can't do anything. Isn't that mean? Anyway, here we go. So now take the right foot. I'm going to move the chair for this. Take the right leg and swing it across the body. If you need to dab, that's fine. So you find your balance. Now, when you go to the left, can you point your toes to the left? And then when you come back to the right, point your toes to the right. Start out slow. So we're working through the movements of the hip as well. Good. And then you can shake out your legs, walk around your space, bounce your heels. Okay, and then we'll try the other side. So weight into the right foot and swinging forward and backwards. Maybe connecting the foot to the fingers. Ooh, this side feels different for me. Then across the body. Remember, if you need to dab, it's okay. That means just a little touch. And then shake out your legs, walk around your space, or bounce your heels. Great. Then from here, we're going to do a couple of other little balancing moves. So standing, put your weight, so stand about in the middle of your mat, I guess, and take your weight into your right foot and take your left foot in your hand. Okay, reach your right arm up. So you're sort of in a dancer shape, right? And then just dip forward, reach your right hand forward and come back up. And try that a couple times. Going as far as you want. Maybe you're just standing in the pose, that's fine too. But see if you can find some movement here, because this is where we really find that we have trouble as we move along the chronological timeline, right? Is the transition in balance. So there you go. Maybe do 6 to 8 of these and then shake it out and go to the other side. So weight in the left foot, take the right foot in your hand, left arm up, and you might just tip a little ways, or you might find that you could tip a little further. And probably if we did this every day, we'd see our balance improve significantly. Whew. And falling out is legal. After you've done 6 to 8 reps, come back to Tadasana. Center of your mat or closer to the back. And then bending through your knees, sweep your arms forward, come into Utkatasana, again, the chair pose, the fierce pose. Squeezing the legs into an imaginary block, lift your arches. Exhale, come down to forward fold and walk your hands forward, downward facing dog. And I'm just setting my blocks out here in place. Downward dog. And just downward dog. Now let's inhale, take the right leg out behind you and reach it up towards the ceiling. And then bend through your right knee and stack your right hip over your left hip. Press really hard into the right hand. So the shoulders, you're not collapsing, but you're keeping the shoulders balanced. And then release your right foot back to the floor. Stretch the left leg out behind you. Bend your left leg and stack your left hip over your right hip. Press really hard into the left hand. So the shoulders stay stacked and even. You're just opening up this hip. And then release your left foot back to the floor. Walk your feet up towards your hands. Inhale to Utkatasana, the fierce pose. Maybe sit a little deeper. And then exhale, press up to standing. Take your time. Arms come to your sides. You might feel a little dizzy. I always do. Ooh. Release your gaze down towards the floor. And then open your feet wide, lining up along the long edge of your mat. Great. So we'll turn the left foot forward and the back heel out and come into warrior two. So have your blocks handy here for this little series, or a chair. So now in your warrior two, you feel some stretch or some opening across the collarbones through your fingertips. Okay, so look out over that front hand, right to the middle finger. And then on your next inhale, you're going to straighten the front leg and lift the front arm up. You could bring both arms if you want, but have your gaze follow that fingertip. And if that's too hard on the neck, just follow your bicep. And then on the exhale, follow your finger back down, come into warrior two. So inhale, straighten the front arm and follow the gaze, follow the hand. with your gaze, and then exhale. Come back to warrior two. Follow your hand with your gaze, okay? A couple times here. See how this changes your balance. You could put your back hand on your hip if that helps facilitate the movement. And you could bring both hands together or up towards the ceiling. And then follow that front hand back down. Great. Let's do that a couple more times. And then let's come to warrior two, holding, turning the palms up. So the arm's going to external rotation. Draw your shoulder blades in and down. Lift through your collarbones. So this image of soaring or receiving some energy here. Good. Then turn the palms back down, straighten through the front leg, reaching with the fingertips, tilt into Trikonasana. Hand on your front shin, or take your block here to the outside of your front leg. Back hand on your hip, or stack the shoulders. Trikonasana. Now, legs engaged, you're squeezing the legs towards one another. And then let the top hand float back to your hip. Look down at your front foot, and you're gonna bend through the front leg and move the back leg up about a foot. So back foot is at an angle. Okay, front leg is straight. We'll come up to a halfway lift. Tilt in the direction or twist in the direction of the block. So we're squared up to the front of the mat. And then reaching the right arm out, right? This could be your revolved triangle, or bringing that right hand to the block in revolved triangle. So the block is, even with your foot, left hand on your hip, or extend the left arm up towards the ceiling. So revolve triangle. And undo the twist, so come back. Now take the block with your left hand, bend through your left knee, and come forward and out with the block, and step yourself into Ardha Chandrasana. So straighten the front leg and lift the back leg. So the back leg, toes, ankle is flexed, toes pointing towards, away from you, and then slowly open your chest. Maybe stack the arms. Now you could do this all with a chair, with your left hand on a chair. Okay, we just did it from, in a little sequence there, but you could stop and just do this on with the support of some furniture. To come out, we'll bring the top hand back to the hip, bend through the front leg, step our right foot back, and find warrior one again. Well done, everybody. Finding warrior one again. And then on your exhale, straighten your front leg and let your hands float down to your sides. Feel this balance right here. Equal weight in your feet. Okay, and then bend through your front leg, step forward, Tadasana. Okay, we're going to try that all on the other side. I'm going to have my back to you so that when I come into revolved triangle, you'll see a different angle there. But now here, put your weight into your right foot and step your left foot back, big step, turn the heel out, and come into warrior two. Okay, So in the warrior two, take a gaze over the front fingers. And here we go. We're gonna inhale, straighten the front leg, follow our fingertips up towards the sky. See how that changes the balance. Exhale, bend through the front knee and bring the arm back into the T position. Okay, lots of options with the back hand. With the left hand, you can come to your hip or you can bring it up with the right hand. So inhale, sweep the arms up, follow the gaze follows the fingertips. Exhale, come down to the warrior two, follow your fingertips with your gaze. Our visual cues have a lot to do with how well we balance, right? A couple more here before you land in a strong warrior two. Okay, equal weight on both feet. So if your back foot feels a little disattached or unattached, isometrically slide the right foot forward and feel how that engages the back leg. Then turn the palms up, open through your collarbones, receive some energy here. Ooh, tingling. Then turn the palms back down, straighten the front leg, and tilt into Trikonasana. Again, your front hand, your right hand can come to your shin, can come to a block, top hand stacked, or on your hip. Gaze straight out in front of you, down at your front foot, lots of options. Keep the chest open here. Good. Then to come out, bend slightly through the front knee, inhale to come up, back to sort of a warrior two shape, and bring the back foot about a foot closer to the front foot. So your hips, it's kind of like a short Vera one stance with the front leg straight. Okay. Inhale the left arm up, and then you'll hinge forward, tilting at the hips, right? Tilting at the waist. And then you can bring your left hand over to the block for revolve triangle. Now, you could bring your left hand to your thigh or to your shin. Doesn't have to be to a block. Could be on a piece of furniture. But now we're in the revolve triangle. Front foot is lined up with the long edge of your mat, and the back foot is at an angle about 30 degrees. And you could stack the arms if that works in your body, or keep the top hand on the hip. Then we slightly unwind. Here's where we're going to Ardha Chandrasana. So you could back out of this completely and use a chair, or put the chair here, but we take that block, then leaning forward, bring the block in front of the right foot and out to the side. As you press and straighten the front leg, you turn the hips, stacking the hips just like we did from the downward dog. Left leg lifted, stacking the hips, and then stacking the shoulders. Press through your heel, the lifted heel, press through that hole. The back foot is ankle flex, so you're pressing like you're standing into a wall, pressing equally both feet, pressing. Legs, muscles engaged. Then the top hand comes to the hip, turn your gaze down towards your foot, bend your knee, and as you drive your hips back, left foot lands on the mat. You come back to warrior one. Beautiful, everybody. Exhale, float the arms down, straighten the front leg, and step forward. Back to Tadasana. Beautiful. Good work, good work. This is some good work. Take a few rounds of breath in your Tadasana, settling, grounding, feeling the feet spread wide. And then release and bounce the heels. Walk around in your space or do some ninja steps, okay? And then we'll get ready for the next little series. So the next little series will be balancing stick or balancing four or finger, hand to foot pose into Vrksasana. So you could have a chair, a piece of furniture nearby for this. Okay. So I'm going to start with using the back of my chair, my weight into my left foot. And here I can bring my right knee up and just hold the knee. Okay. If you have the ability to take your peace fingers onto your big toe and do hand to foot pose, you can do that. You could also have a strap around your foot, but you could also have your hand underneath your leg, your lifted leg, lots of options. Nice tall spine though. So the hand on the chair, maybe you take the hand away, kind of play with your balance here. And then from this lifted position with the right leg, you'll externally rotate that thigh and bring your foot into your thigh and come into Vrksasana. Play with your hands, taking the hands away from the prop if you have one. And now how can you play with the steadiness that a tree exhibits with the wind? Maybe a very heavy top. So hands are extended out. Your ankles and feet are doing a lot of work. Your core should be engaged here. If you fall out, just shake out the legs and start the whole sequence over. So the weight in the left foot, and maybe it's hand to foot, and then right into Vrksasana. Adding any movement with the hands. If you fall out, don't worry. Start over or shake it out. Walk around your space. Shake out the legs. Bounce the heels. And we'll try the other side. So it's up to you what prop you want to use. If you like having the prop there, use it. If you don't have to. So now weight is in, let's see, the right foot. And we bring the left leg up. Maybe this is where we hang out. Find our balance here first. Remember, there's lots of options. Lots of variations. And then from this position, I'm going to find Vrksasana. Now squeeze your leg into your foot and press your foot into your leg. Draw your pelvic floor up and contract in the abdominals. Feel how that helps you balance. This, how we stand in our bodies is related to our core being. Physically, physiologically, metaphorically, right? And if you fall out, shake it out and start again. Okay, if you're still holding, bravo. But know that the experience of coming off away from the shape, losing the path, if you're thinking metaphorically, that experience is really powerful because it allows us to step back in, gives us the opportunity to start over. Play with the hands. Maybe you can do a little side bend. And then finally we come out, tap the heels down, bounce the heels, move around your space, move your chair out of the way. Do whatever you need to, but come finally to the top of your mat in Tadasana. From this Tadasana now, bring your right foot forward and your left foot right behind your right foot so that your toe is touching your heel. So your feet are in line, like on a balance beam. Every time I do this, I have such mad respect for gymnasts. So feet are lined up, one behind the other. Right foot is forward. Now just shift your weight into your left foot and bring your right foot behind your left foot, toe to heel. Then bring left foot behind right foot, toe to heel, set it down. Right foot behind left foot. So you're walking the length of your mat, wishing that you hadn't bought that extra long mat. Woo! Placing the toe right behind the heel as you move. And once you're off your mat, just go back in the opposite direction, going forward, placing your heel right in front of the toe to get back to the top of your mat. And when you're back to the top of your mat, take your feet wide. Drop down through a squat. So any variation of a squat for you. Deep squat. Let the hips relax down to the floor. Hands in front of the body. So you could be sitting on a block here. Hands in front of the body, pressing together, and press elbows into your thighs, the inner thighs, and your thighs back into your hands. So really feeling like this allows you to open up through the hips. Breathe into that same low back space. Good, good, good. Now from here, a couple of different options. You can drop right down to your booty and come into a figure four. Or you could drop down into your booty, scoot the front leg, whichever leg you want in front, and come into pigeon. Okay. Now, if you're in pigeon, it's really nice if you have a blanket, and we come to this side, a blanket or a block or something, so that front hip can be level with the other hip, the lifted hip. So folded blanket is a little nicer than a block, but you can set something underneath that front hip, and then you can come into a folded position, what we call the sleeping pigeon. My neighbor feeds the pigeons around here, so there's tons of them. And then just letting the earth support you here as you sort of melt into a more an open, not unengaged completely, but less engaged in the legs, just allowing the hips to open up. Okay, so either pigeon on both sides, or what we call figure four, which is just pigeon on the floor with your back on the floor. So either one is perfectly fine. Do both sides an equal time. And just choose what works in your body. There's not this is all we have. Every single one of us has a different body with different history. We have a different body signature. So allow this just to be your practice. Do what feels good in your body. Now, if you're on your belly, if you're doing a sort of a traditional pigeon on your belly, at some point you're going to come over to your back. If you're doing the supine pigeon, the figure four, release both feet to the floor. We're going to stack our knees over our hips and let the knees fall over to the right. Right hand on top of the left leg, and just release your low back. Release your left side ribs in this twist. You can just imagine the ribs floating towards the floor. You might just have your left shoulder. You might not even be able to get your left shoulder on the floor. That's okay. Just imagine it all sinking down to the floor. Scoop your belly to the left. So there's a little belly engagement. You're trying to scoop your belly over to the left, like you could, your navel was a flashlight. You're going to shine it on the ceiling. Option here to straighten the top leg. Sweep it down in a diagonal line. So you're kind of working the outer fascia of the left leg. Lots of options. And when you're ready, you'll inhale the top leg up. Come back to center and set your feet down on the floor and just do a couple of pelvic tilts before you go to the other side. Right? So then it's knees over to the left. Find what works for you first. Your knees might be coming straight out from the hips, but they also could be at an angle. You could straighten that top leg and stack it on the bottom leg, or take it a little bit more at a diagonal. So you're working this outer fascia. And then scoop your belly to the right. Again, you're trying to shine that flashlight, navel flashlight, right up at the ceiling. And just imagine that your right shoulder touches the floor. Your right ribs are making contact with the floor. Maybe you might even have your whole right side really down on the floor. Just to imagine that it's happening. The body doesn't really know the difference. If you believe it's touching, it's touching. Inhale that top leg up, back to center, set both feet down on the floor, and a couple pelvic tilts. Anything else that you need to work your way down to Shavasana. And what I mean by down to, take your time to settle into Shavasana just like you are transitioning to any other pose. Stretch one leg, stretch the opposite leg, tuck your shoulder blades underneath. So giving Shavasana the same attention as we do any pose or shape. Grabbing anything you need for support, blanket, something underneath your head. And really embracing this final Shavasana. Allowing everything to settle. Feeling the support of the earth. Softening your breath. Allow your inhale and exhale to be easy. Soften your hands. Soften the muscles around your eyes and between your brow. You might put your hands on your heart space and acknowledge the strength that you have in your body, the way you can stand in the world, the way you do stand in the world, the way you express yourself in the world. Your discipline for coming to class. And just stay here as long as you like, as long as you feel supported. Namaste.